Welcome back to the 50th episode of the BatChums podcast. I'm Drew Leiter, and joining me tonight is my co-host, the man, the myth, the new legend, Mike Gordon.
Howdy! And I'm playing the piano. Can you tell?
I don't hear anything.
That's for the
Maybe that's a
best.
good thing.
That's for the best. That's for the best.
So this is Batman Season 2, Episode 15, The Devil's Fingers. Episode aired Wednesday, October 26, 1966, directed by Larry Pierce and written by Lorenzo Semple Jr.
Now we haven't had an actual script from Lorenzo Semple Jr. in a while. I think this is the first one we get this season, and I think we're going to get one more, meaning one more two-parter from him later on this season, and then that's it. He doesn't. He's still listed as a. He's still going to be credited as a consultant slash, developer of the show. But I don't know exactly how much input and how much directly he's influencing the show. But here we see that he is directly influencing because this is a two-parter of his writing. So yeah, it's good to see his name back on the credits.
Yeah. All right. So let's go ahead and dive into this. A peaceful evening at Wayne Manor. Inside the living room, Aunt Harriet and Chandell practice their performance for the annual benefit of the Wayne Foundation.
Now,
Chandell starts playing on the piano.
yeah,
Oh, go ahead.
Right. Well, you just said Sando starts playing on the piano. We have to, I mean, this is the big deal, right? Liberace is Chandel. Now, at this point, we don't know whether this is a cameo or if he's actually going to be on the show, but we'll find out he's really going to be on the show playing double duty. But but just seeing him, obviously, pretty amazing. Are you familiar with Liberace?
Yeah, I knew of him. I don't know much about him.
He was a pianist, singer, actor. Actor, we're putting quotes. But and an entertainer, and obviously a flamboyant one at that. He's American. He was born in Wisconsin, but he just seems like he's from a different planet, doesn't he? And at in the 50s, 60s, this is at the height of Liberace mania, if you will. During this time, he is one of the, if not the highest paid entertainer in the world. And in fact,
Oh, wow.
it shows up in the ratings here because a number of different sources list this two-parter as the two highest rated shows episodes of the entire run of the series. So take that, Joker. Take that, Penguin. Take that, Catwoman. Liberace beats them all as far as the ratings goes. People are tuning in to see Liberace on Batman, and it's pretty amazing that it would take Liberace to put the ratings. This is where I think this is where in terms of the ratings, the series peaks. It never gets higher than this. So whether or not it's reflected in the story, we'll see. But yeah, it's a big deal. And oddly enough, this is only like one of those trivia things, but um, in real life, Liberace himself was the survivor of a pair of twins. The other, when he was born, the other, his twin was stillborn. So it is kind of fitting, I guess, in some ways, that he plays twins in this as well. But we haven't gotten to the second one yet, the brother yet. But yeah, and I'll say right now too, it's good to see Aunt Harriet really used. I mean, she's really featured a lot in this episode, probably more than she ever has been.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that. I mean, they really use her in this episode. So, and I got
Absolutely.
to tell you, I do remember watching this when I was younger.
Wow.
So I do
Okay.
remember this
So
episode.
Liberace makes an impression on Baby Drew.
Chandell starts playing on the piano to set the mood. Suddenly, three mysterious women enter from the glass double doors: a blonde, a brunette, and a redhead. These female phantoms are wearing kilts. The redhead is playing the bagpipes while the blonde and brunette are holding swords. The brunette commands them to hand over their jewelry. Chandell calls them fiendish figments of the imagination and demands to know what the meaning of this is. The redhead replies they are ghosts. The blonde states that they have been called from slumber by his music. The
Now,
brunette states it will happen again and again wherever they perform.
now, Drew, I guess it's important to note too that Liberace isn't just playing to set the mood. He's actually there because he's helping. He and Aunt Harriet are going to perform. Aunt Harriet is going to sing at this annual Wayne Foundation event, which for some reason Bruce and Dick are like, we're not going to attend that. We're going somewhere else. I don't know why. Seems odd that they would miss out on a huge event of this caliber. But in any case, and she's going to sing the song that Liberace is playing is a classic very, very old Scottish tune, the Bonnie Banks of Loch Lomond. And I think I pronounced that right. I might have not. So I'm not. I'm very. Part of me is Scottish. I'm not. I'm happy to say. In fact, when he's playing it, Alfred is like, "Ooh, I could see the Moors," taking him back to England in his roots. And Aunt Harriet says she can see the Gordons and the Campbells. The Gordons, Drew. She can see the Gordon. She can see my people. Uh, because the Gordons were a big Scottish clan. We have a tartan and everything. And so yeah, this is bringing out that. So yeah, yeah, they're actually like Aunt Harriet has got some things here that we didn't like is exposing some parts of her that we had never knew before. That she can sing, which is still to be decided. And also that she must have some Scottish heritage in her because she's acting like this is something that's bestowed in her family. Now it might be. I mean, we still, as we talked about in the first season, we still don't know exactly the heritage and the familiar relationship between her and Dick. We know that she's his aunt, but we don't know if, I mean, her last name isn't Ward. No, I'm sorry, it wouldn't be Ward. Sorry. Her last name isn't Grayson, right? So, so exactly what does that mean? I don't know. Grayson doesn't seem to be a Scottish last name, so I don't know. It would be kind of interesting to follow along that, but I don't think they gave it much thought either when they did design these. So, but it is interesting that the ladies come out in Scottish. We find out later that they're not actually Scottish, but that doesn't stop the main one, which I believe is Doe, as Doe Ray Mimi is are their names. I believe Doe speaks in a very Scottish accent, kind of cringingly so, but yes, she does. Give it a go. Does Doe?
They do not say their names at all in this episode. So that's why I'm going with redhead, blonde, and brunette. So
Well, if you look at, I don't know if they say it in the next one, but the IMDb was very helpful when it came to their names. So,
the redhead points the bagpipes at Chandell and plays an awful tune. Chandell passes out. Aunt Harriet calls it inhuman. Alfred calls it demonic. The redhead points the bagpipes at Alfred, playing the same awful tune. Alfred shakes involuntarily and then falls to the floor.
hey, it's better than being gassed or punched in the gut. So if you've got to be knocked out some way, I would, being knocked out by a by the sound emanating from these fine looking ladies, I would take that over the previous times that Alfred has been knocked out.
I love how he plays it though. The way he shakes and just falls over. I love it.
He is a star of caliber.
The women quickly grab Aunt Harriet and Chandell's jewelry before scurrying elsewhere in Wayne Manor to grab more valuables.
They don't knock her
Mercy,
out, which is weird. I don't know. Like, yeah, I guess you could ask if it only applies to men because they don't get knocked out themselves by playing this music. I don't know. It's weird, but they don't knock out Harriet.
yeah, I noticed that too.
Somebody's got to call
Mercy
the
alive.
cops.
Mercy alive. Aunt Harriet calls the police. She tells Commissioner Gordon and Chief O'Hara that Mr. Wayne is away on a millionaire's hunting trip, while her nephew Dick is on a school holiday. Commissioner Gordon states that with any luck, they will have this case closed before they return. Luck spelling Cape Crusaders.
Yeah. When he says we, he means Batman and Robin.
Yes.
When he says we will have this wrapped up in no time, he means Batman and Robin will have it wrapped up in no time.
Commissioner Gordon calls police headquarters and has them plug him into the hotline phone circuit.
Go, Bonnie.
While no one is while no one is paying attention, Alfred rushes to the study to answer the bat phone.
I love
Alfred
how
tells Commissioner Gordon that
like you said, Alan Napier is so good. He's sort of like like he's in the background, just sneaking
I
out so that no
I
one
loved it.
notices. It's so
Alfred's great.
awesome.
Alfred's great in these scenes here.
It really is.
Alfred tells Commissioner Gordon that Batman and Robin are not presently available. Batman is enjoying one of his infrequent vacations.
Yeah, this is not so
Commissioner
suspicious.
Gordon,
This is not suspicious at all, Drew.
I know. Hey, I, Alfred should have came up with a different excuse besides him being on vacation. You know
Well,
what I mean?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
He could have
He,
just been
I
out of the
believe
Batcave or
I believe
something.
he's working with the Justice League this weekend. I guess
That would
that
have
wouldn't
been
have worked.
awesome.
I think he's off world this weekend. I think he's on a different planet this weekend. Sorry, Kamish.
Well, Cletus and I just wrapped up Batman Off World this week, where Batman's off in space fighting aliens.
Something that I
But let's
need to
not go
read
on a
at some point.
tangent. It's pretty good. Commissioner Gordon tells Chief O'Hara that this is catastrophic, with the look of with a with the look of shock on both their faces, the moment they have dreaded for years. They will have to solve this case themselves. They're so dramatic.
So dramatic, and yet, once again, Gordon is not afraid to look directly at the audience. He's like, "This time we're going to have to solve it," and he just looks right at the camera. Ourselves. He's also pretty. I mean, Hamilton's also really good too. I mean, the way he sells it here, is pretty awesome.
In the Batcave, all the equipment is covered with bed sheets as if Batman and Robin will not be returning for years. The entrance exit to the Batcave even has what looks like prison bars.
Hey,
I don't
hey,
know if you noticed that or
they,
not, but
right, they don't want anything to get dusty. And Alfred's like, look, if you're not going to be down there, I'm not going down there to dust. So I'm just going to cover everything.
Bruce and Dick went on vacation. Why not Alfred?
Alfred's got to take care of Aunt Harriet. And like I said, I would not be surprised if Alfred just goes down up and down the bat pole while they're gone.
I would.
See?
Upstairs in the Wayne Manor living room, three Gotham City police officers investigate using a magnifying glass, a fingerprint kit, and a camera. They seem frustrated not finding any clues.
They seem like they just don't know what to do. Like they really seem like they're like we have to actually do this. We we don't we have to actually work. Yeah, they don't seem pretty happy about not I mean having to do this on their own either. That's just yeah, it's weird. I
Back
mean,
at police
we've
headquarters,
seen that they're, that the police are, incompetent at times and everything, but this is sort of taking it to a different level.
yeah, it's actually I find it humorous actually.
It is humorous. It is. It
The
actually
way
is.
they play it in this the way they play it in this episode is humorous.
Yeah, especially in the like it was just the last one where, they went 24 hours without Batman and Robin and the city went to hell, right? Like so they were like
Yeah.
so now they're gone for how long? It might be more than 24 hours. Good Lord, what are they going to do? Like, I mean, yeah. At least the commissioner could have got a heads up from Batman and say, like, dude, I'm going to be out of town for a few days. And click, if anything comes up, don't call me. Click, like that kind of thing. But instead, Batman just disappeared. Like, man, he left them on
He
alert.
ghosts them. He
He did ghost them.
ghosts them.
He totally did.
Back at police headquarters, Commissioner Gordon and Chief O'Hara interrogate Chandell, asking him who knew he would be playing a Scottish theme. Chandell tells them it was in the Gotham City Times, the society page. Chandell wants to know if they are going to call Batman or is he going to have to call him himself. Commissioner Gordon informs Chandell that Batman and Robin are on vacation. Chandell states that he is performing at Gotham Town Hall tonight. Who is going to protect him? Chief O'Hara gets on the phone and declares an emergency. He cancels all leaves and throws a complete anti criminal court in around Gotham Town Hall.
And and
Commissioner
and
Gordon,
Gordon is like, tonight, like this should not be news to you that he's performing this evening.
yeah, no kidding. Commissioner Gordon reassures Chandell that the situation is well in hand and wishes him a good day. On his way out, Chandell turns and questions, but will it be a good night? After Chandell leaves his office, Commissioner Gordon tells Chief O'Hara that he is frightened. An echo haunts in his ears. Chief O'Hara adds that he'd give his right arm to hear it now. It is the noblest, most inspiring words in the entire English language. In unison, they say, "To the Batmobile, Robin, let's go."
Considering that Batman usually says that when he and Robin are in the Batcave to go to God, like how do they know what that's when he says that?
He hasn't he hasn't said it in their office before, though.
I think he has. I think he has. They're constantly like running off, so probably. But it seems to me that the times they say it the most is when they're going to into Gotham. But yeah.
At a bankrupt music roll factory, Chandell meets with his twin brother Harry, who is blackmailing him into committing crimes. Chandell used a mechanical piano at the White House concert to make him famous. Harry is wanting 95% of the take at tonight's concert.
Now he's blackmailing him, but Drew, it doesn't really seem like Chantel is that honorable of a guy by himself. It sounds like he just doesn't like the fact that his brother wants a huge cut. Because it sounds like even if it was up to him, he would still go on his criminal ways. He just doesn't like his brother having a cut, I think. I don't get the feeling that Chantel is like this, helpless poor guy that's being blackmailed by his criminal brother. Because
Yeah, I,
the girls are his, right? Like they're the
right.
ones who are doing everything, and he's the one coming up with the schemes.
Yeah, I'm sure he'd still be a criminal if, even if his brother wasn't involved. Chandell asks Harry how much it would take to get him. Yeah. Chandell asks Harry how much it would take to get out of his power. Harry answers $5 million. Chandell tells him he has a plan to steal the entire Wayne fortune. That night at Gotham Town Hall, Alfred gets fingerprinted before they can enter the concert. Commissioner Gordon lets Aunt Harriet enter without getting fingerprinted. I thought that was crazy.
Alfred says, "How gauche." Uh,
As as the curtain is about to go up, Commissioner Gordon informs all machine gunnists to be ready. At the first sign of criminal activity, make every bullet count.
they they
That's their solution. They're just going to shoot criminals
they have
with
they have
machine guns.
they have machine gunners like with sandbags all around and bunkers all around, like in the town hall. I'm like, uh, fellas, this is a bit overkill. Like,
I thought it was I thought it
and
was
and yet, I
hilarious.
have to,
And then you have the cops wearing the army helmets.
I have to
They're
say
white,
though,
but they're basically army helmets.
I have to say though that even with all of this incompetence, I do have to give Gordon a little bit of credit here because right before that, he turns to Chief O'Hare and he says, Chief, I can't help but feel that we're missing something, that we're being clumsy here. Like it seems like his cop instinct is telling him something that they haven't prepared for is going to happen. And he's not wrong in that. So I think there's hope for Gordon. It just unfortunately doesn't play out. But he does sort of know that something is missing and that they're missing out on something and et cetera, et cetera. So if only Commissioner Gordon had the ear for music that Bruce Wayne and Batman have, then maybe he too could figure out what was going to happen. Although about to happen
Chandel,
is pretty bonkers. So I don't know if anybody could have
yeah.
predicted it.
Chandel begins his performance. Elsewhere, Bruce Wayne is lying in a tent listening to Chandel's performance over a battery powered radio. Bruce Wayne is puzzled by Chandel's use of a C minor chord that doesn't belong in the piece. Bruce asks his hunting chum to check the muskrat traps. Bruce calls Dick using a secret fishing pole radio.
Yeah, it should be noted here that we get to see Liberace as Chandel is playing. According to Bruce, he's playing Dance Arab, I think. I'm probably butchering that. Sorry. Which is, I believe, a part or a section from the Nutcracker by Tchaikovsky. Again, why it doesn't seem like a very Christmassy type event. So why they're playing part of the Nutcracker, I don't know. And again, we this is kind of a surprise to us because we thought that they were playing Scottish tunes that Aunt Harriet was gonna take part in, but instead we do get a pretty long segment here of Liberace actually playing the piano, which I thought was pretty nice. I mean, usually you just see him, do this, uh, and you hear music playing. So you're under the impression that he's not really playing the music that we're seeing or hearing rather. But in this concert hall footage, we actually do see him play. So and that's what the people want. That's what's bringing the ratings in.
Yep,
Not those
they got
three
it.
hot women that are that are helping him do crimes.
Meanwhile, Dick is on a date with Sally at the malt shop. They are staring at they are staring into each other's eyes dreamily. Dick notices a flashing light on his geometry book and quickly covers it up with his hand. Dick reaches his right hand over to grab Sally's and purposely knocks her sundae into her lap.
Now, Anne Harriet said that her or her nephew Dick Grayson was at a student function or a student event. Like What kind of student event is Dick at? Or did he kind of lie to her again by just saying that he had a date with a girl, like by and just really he had a date with a girl at a malt shop? I mean, that's what it seems like. This doesn't seem like a student function.
Well, she said he was on holiday from school. She didn't say he was at a function. She
I
didn't. They
think
didn't really say where Dick was at.
I think she did. She implied that he was at some sort of school event. I think.
I I wrote it down in my notes. She said, "Let me go back. I'm gonna go back because I had it written down." Chandell starts playing the music. Okay, hang on. Okay, here it is. Mercy alive! Aunt Harriet calls the police. She tells Commissioner Gordon and Chief O'Hara that Mr. Wayne is away on a millionaire's hunting trip while her nephew Dick is on a school holiday. That's all she said. It wasn't a school function, school holiday.
All right, all right. Well, in any case, I mean, he's gone, right,
Well, yeah.
for a while. It's not just he's not gone for an afternoon. Yeah, that's kind of that's kind of weird. But anyway, Dick looks like he's on his way to reaching the promised land, so to speak. uh,
Sally excuses herself and heads to the restroom to clean up. Dick responds to Bruce on his secret geometry book radio.
That's a pretty smooth
Bruce,
move on Dick's part too, by the way. Just like
yeah.
seeing that the thing, his book was his alarm book alarm was going off, and, and in order to get rid of her, he just like casually like goes over and dumps something on her. I'm like, that was pretty smooth. I give both Dick Grayson and Bruce Ward credit for that smooth move.
Bruce tells Dick that the great Chandell just made a mistake in a C minor chord. Holy impossibility! Bruce tells Dick to meet him back at Wayne Manor. And Dick was very disappointed that his date got interrupted.
He was very disappointed because yeah, he was yeah. I mean, our little ward is growing up, Drew.
Yeah. Yep. Well, Batman said as much back in the Catwoman episode, if you remember.
He did. He did. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Commissioner Gordon and Chief O'Hara learned that the Burma Import Company has just been blasted and robbed, just as Chandell was playing a Burmese number. Three female phantoms dressed in as Burmese dancing girls robbed the place.
Okay. I believe, like I said, I believe that the song that Chantel is playing is from the Nutcracker from by Tchaikovsky. How that is interpreted as a Burmese number, I do not know. Like I'm very confused as to how that yeah, I don't know how that fits. And obviously, the three lovely ladies go from being Scottish Highlanders to Burmese dancers. Even evoking the I don't know what it's called, but it's that there's that wonderful shot of the when the cop sees them, and then he just sees the one dancer, and then the arms of the one behind her pop out, and then the arms, so it looks like she's got six arms, and it's a really nice looking shot. This is directed really well too. We talked about how the writing's sharp by Lorenzo Semple Jr. and full of fun stuff, but the directing in this is pretty good too. I thought that shot was really fun, and yeah, but exactly, the Burmese ties to the music that Liberace is playing, I didn't quite get that connection, but maybe somebody who's listening can tell us because I'm sure I'm getting this completely wrong. No, somebody's probably like, "You idiot. It wasn't Tchaikovsky. It was somebody maybe. I don't, So I don't again, we don't claim to be experts."
No, we don't. Chief O'Hare informs the machine gunnists to put their safeties on. They have been outboxed. Commissioner Gordon wonders where Batman is in their hour of need.
Make those bullets count, men. Oh, it's so brutal. But
Chandell calls the three phantoms to see how the robbery went. The redhead answers and tells him, like a dream, lover. Chandell tells the women to stake out Wayne Manor and let him know as soon as Bruce Wayne and his young ward return. I thought that was interesting. She called him lover. So
well,
at least
the whole thing with the flamboyancy of Liberace and having all these like three beautiful women next. I mean, look, we haven't seen another villain have this kind of level of help, female help around. Usually they get one. But but Liberace gets three, and they're quite capable of performing criminal acts. I mean, they've done it now twice here, and it's pretty solid. But yeah, the whole sort of sexuality of Liberace and everything is something that I felt like was known, but a lot of people were in denial about. And I think this show kind of plays around with that a little bit too. It is the 60s, but it's the 60s.
back at Wayne Manor in Bruce's study, Alfred informs Bruce and Dick that Mrs. Cooper is paying a private visit to the maestro in his dressing room. Dick is worried that Chandell is a famous ladies' man. Bruce tells Dick that some romantic interlude has fevered his imagination. Aunt Harriet is utterly above reproach.
Bruce can see right through where Dick's head's at.
Yes, I know. It's freaking hilarious.
Yeah.
I I gotta tell you, we're
Just
not.
because you were on a date about to get some, don't you think your Aunt Harriet is doing the same thing, buddy? Although, I don't know. Aunt Harriet seems pretty swooned over. She's pretty taken by Chantel. And it's so much so that she doesn't just send Alfred home on like by himself, as a lark.
Holy apparition! Dick spots the three female phantoms dressed as Burmese dancing girls outside the window. Bruce, Dick, and Alfred all rush to the window, but the women have gone like race.
Yeah, it's another nice directed shot. It's weird because now the three, which previously were, like I said, Highland ghosts, now they appear to be Burmese phantoms. So very strange that they would switch over like that. But but despite the fact that, both all the men are seem to be taken with this apparition, uh, that Bruce knows something's afoot, and he believes that, and not incorrectly so. He believes that Chantel is at the center of it.
I was surprised. I didn't realize that room actually had a window in it. I thought this was an inner room of Wayne Manor. They have a window that
Oh,
somebody
right.
could actually see them go to the Batcave in. I
Yeah.
was surprised.
In fact, if those three ladies had just not played their card, like if they had just stuck around the window, they would have seen Bruce and Dick go into the Batcave, go down the poles, if they just waited around and not sort of tipped their hand.
So
Although it's
yeah,
weird
I was
because
very surprised
they
that
did say that they seem to be. Look, there's a lot going on here, but um, I like how Bruce blames himself. He's like, man, I should never have gone on vacation because when I do, stuff happens. And we see that in the course of the comics. Bruce always feels like he can't take a break. He always has to be working. He always has to be stopping crying because if he doesn't, somebody's going to get hurt. And he's got to do everything he can. So that plays out here. Although Alfred reminds him, he's like, you have to get away because if you, when you get away, you're able to reset your mind and your creative energy or your energies, so to speak. I'm paraphrasing. He doesn't say that exactly, and Bruce acknowledges that. He said, yeah, quite right. But, uh, look, at least one of them should have been there. you know, and maybe that was the plan. Maybe the plan was to have Dick hang out. But Dick's like, you know what? I'm gonna go out. I gotta sow some oats here. And so maybe there's a little bit of that going on because Bruce, who should be sort of happy that his young ward is taking an interest in women, doesn't seem to be too happy about it.
Batman calls Commissioner Gordon to let him know they are on the case. Bruce tells Dick the first thing on their agenda is to check on Aunt Harriet. To the
So
bat poles.
So this is great. They call Commissioner Gordon, and Commissioner Gordon, what is he doing? He's got like 18 things of pills on his desk, which we know that he's a pill guy. And those have gotten into him in trouble before, taking pills because he's gotten under the influence of villains from taking pills, but he's still taking pills. And again, Neil Hamilton does such a great job because once the bat phone finally rings, I don't know if there's anybody that can sell relief. Like Neil Hamilton sells relief there. He just looks like an angel has come down and blessed with blessings upon him. He just looks so happy that Batman is back, and he was so stressed out there.
He was. Commissioner Gordon tells Bonnie to contact Chandell and tell him the dynamic duo are back in action.
Yeah, I don't know if this was a smart move, but you know,
Yeah, he doesn't know better, that's for sure.
true.
In Chandell's private dressing room, Mrs. Cooper and Chandell share a drink of root beer together, romantically interlocking their arms. Chandell tells Mrs. Cooper that he must retire for the night. Mrs. Cooper takes a cab home. I thought it was hilarious. They're using they're using wine or champagne glasses to drink root beer.
Yeah, well, I think it's worse than that, Drew. They're using martini glasses.
Oh, it's martini glasses.
Yeah, yeah, those are those triangular glasses. They're using martini glasses to drink root beer. And must be flat because I've never seen root beer not fuzz up. Not with a, I mean, whenever you pour root beer, it's got a huge head, but not this root beer. It's flat. But yeah, he's treating the root beer bottle like a champagne bottle or a wine bottle, which is kind of amusing. But yeah, I mean, there's definitely like, he is, we know that he's got a scheme to try to get the Wayne money. And that scheme is going to go through Harriet.
Yep. Batman and Robin arrive just in time to see Aunt Harriet getting into a cab. The Cape Crusaders decide to have a word with Chandell. When they arrive in his dressing room, they discover he has been assaulted with a root beer bottle,
Yeah, I can
which we
only
see him
imagine.
hit over his own head.
I can only imagine that they just were pressed for time because normally they would have arrived, seen Aunt Harriet get into a cab, and then climbed up the side of the building to go up there to see, and then run across some famous cameo,
See,
and
I was
and
totally expecting them to do that too, and when they
that.
didn't, I was surprised.
Well, they got two Liberace's for the price of one. So no cameos. No cameos involved with this one. So but yeah, by the way, didn't mention it earlier, but Liberace would go on to he like I said, his acting is not, I would say, maybe of the highest caliber in this. He definitely goes on his personality, which, is famous and what he's famous for. So, but I will say when he plays his brother, it's kind of fun. Because his brother is like as butch as you can get. Like it's like, yeah, Liberace goes plays butch. And it is kind of funny. So I do give him credit for that. But he didn't act in a lot of things. He appeared as himself in a lot of episodes of shows like Love Boat and everything like that. But he didn't really play other parts very often. The IMDb only lists him doing, a handful of things just as an actor. But I will say that one of the appearances that he does make as himself, as Liberace, is in October of 1967. He appears in season two episode of The Monkees called Art for the Monkey's Sake. So since we're tracking tie-ins between Batman and the Monkees, I feel like that was a nice callback there, a nice
Yeah, that's in.
connection.
Yeah. Robin uses smelling salts to wake Chandell. Chandell tells him, no, wait. Chandell tells them it was his criminal twin brother Harry who assaulted him. He gives them the address to the old music roll factory. Batman and Robin rush to the old music roll factory and discover the three Phantom women. Batman believes they may be under a hypnotic spell. When the dynamic duo go to interrogate them, three henchmen appear and a battle ensues.
When
During the
When Robin says, "Hey, Batman, let's interrogate them," I had a horrible vision of them knocking them out and taking them all to the Batcave. Because that's the way they have in previous seasons interrogated women. They have knocked them unconscious and dragged them to the Batcave. And so I I was like, wow, there's going to be three of them. How are you going to get all three of them in the Batmobile? But they don't even get a chance to do that. But and interesting here too, Chantel, fingers his brother by saying like, I'm coming cold. I can't hide. I can't, front for him anymore. It's my brother. He's doing this. You can find him here, and he gives him the zip code of 999999979 or whatever. Um, and is this part of like I feel like his brother is not in on this part of the plan. Like I feel like this is Chantel's way of getting rid of his brother. Like, look, if they capture my brother, they'll think I had nothing to do with it, and I can get away scot-free, and my brother can go to jail. That's what I was thinking he was kind of play putting in play there. Although, as we find out, his brother is ready for them.
During the fight, the women interfere, distracting the dynamic duo, allowing the henchmen to get punches on them.
I thought
Harry,
this
seeing
was
an
choreographed
opportunity,
choreographed really well. I did think as a
yeah,
fight scene, it was really different. We hadn't seen this kind of thing before, where the women are just kind of dancing in and getting in the way and all of that. And I just thought that was really played out. But yeah, because apparently Chantel has three women that do his bidding, where ironically enough, the very butch brother has three men doing his as his henchmen. So make of that what you will.
Harry, seeing an opportunity, pulls a rope and a large music roll lands on Batman and Robin. Harry orders his henchmen to take the dynamic duo to the cutting machine.
It's the 60s. Are they still using music rolls? I yeah. That is something that you hardly ever see nowadays. That technology was outdated even in the 60s here. So I think it's very strange, but
That's probably why the place was bankrupt.
fair enough. Fair enough.
Batman and Robin are tied up and put on a conveyor belt. Holy piano! Robin wonders what the machine is. Batman explains that they are about to be fed into a machine designed to perforate paper into player piano rolls. Holy sour note! The dynamic duo perforated into piano rolls. How will this music end? Tune in tomorrow for the dire, dreadful dirge. Same bat time, same bat channel. Now, I
Now,
got to tell you, when I when I watched this episode, it was when I was back when I was 5. I specifically remember this episode, and the thing I remember about it is Batman and Robin were being turned into pianos. So at that age, I did not understand what this machine actually was and um, what a piano roll was. I
Right.
thought Batman and Robin were being turned into pianos,
No, no, it's much more dire than that, Drew.
and that's what I remember.
They're being turned into piano rolls, music rolls. Um, it's yeah. Um, so the music that's playing from the machine is "The Stars and Stripes Forever" by John Philip Sousa, which is a very weird choice to have as being the music that is at the cliffhanger, right? However, and most people probably, it's funny because, Stars and Stripes Forever, everybody knows that. At least, you're an American, you know that song. Although a lot of people probably don't know the lyrics because I think the parody of the Stars and Stripes Forever, Be Kind to Your Web-Footed Friends, For a Duck Baby Somebody's Mother, is probably more famous than the lyrics to the actual song itself. However, I did find this particularly interesting. In show business, and particularly in theater and in the circus, this song is referred to as the Disaster March. Because in the early 20th century, when it was common for theaters and circuses to have house bands, this march was traditional code signaling a life-threatening emergency. It subtly notified personnel of emergency situations and ideally allowed them to organize the audience's exit without causing chaos and panic that an overt declaration like "the place is on fire" might do, right? So, except for impending disaster, circus bands never played this tune under any circumstances. So, a very memorable and I guess historic example of this is during the Hartford Circus fire of 2000. I'm sorry, the Hartford Circus fire of 1944. At least 168 people were killed, although some estimate much higher. So this is among people who know in show business, and probably around the 40 and around the 60s, you still have a lot of people who are familiar with this as a thing um, is this is something that's played when life-threatening emergencies are at play. So I just thought that was a really subtle way of using that, which is completely lost on me. I don't get that reference, and I doubt a lot of people in this generation would.
Interesting. I had no clue.
So if you're wondering, boy, it's an odd choice to play this patriotic theme while Batman and Robin are about to be perforated, like, which I did. I was like, that's a weird song to pick. You could pick something more ominous or something, right? But apparently in showbiz lingo, this does mean an emergency, a life-threatening situation. This song does. So, I thought it was really, really fun and interesting. So, um, yeah, uh, good episode overall. Fun episode. What did you think?
Oh yeah, I remembered. As I was watching it, I remembered stuff because when I saw Liberace was going to be on this episode, I was like, oh yeah, I remember this episode, but I didn't remember all the specifics to it. What I remembered the cliffhanger. So that was stuck in my head because, like I said, I thought Batman and Robin were going to be turned into pianos.
I think the only thing I
But
remembered is that they were brothers. That Liberace played a dual role, and that they were brothers. Although I couldn't really remember the specific relationship of the brothers. But I think that's about the only thing I really recalled from this. But yeah, it was a big deal when it aired. That's for sure.
yeah, so I remembered stuff as as the episode unfolded, and some stuff came back to me, but I didn't remember there being twins or anything like that. But yeah, I really enjoyed rewatching this episode because I hadn't seen it since I was a kid. So That it's stuck in my memory.
And there's a lot of fun stuff going on here, and a lot of stuff that it's not. I wouldn't say it's like a typical episode, a predictable episode of Batman where you can sort of predict how things are going to play out. Semple Jr. does a great job of keeping us on our toes. We don't know what's happening when it starts. I mean, for a while, we don't even see Batman and Robin for the first, I don't know. We don't see even Bruce and Dick until the first, until 10 minutes in or something. And that's like really rare.
Yeah, really rare.
So, I mean, I thought, for a while there, I thought, man, are they going to show up like at the very end or like when do they get here? Like, I just like this is kind of cool. Um, and a lot of other stuff going on. And again, great use of Aunt Harriet. I think, uh, Madge Blake, as we've pointed out before, doesn't usually get a lot to do. And in this, she actually gets something to do. This, I don't know if this is her finest two-parter on the series, but um, but she's certainly doing some fine work here.
Right.
And excellent work from Neil Hamilton, Alan Napier, Stafford Rep, the rest of the crew too, all doing great jobs. Like Semple Jr. gives something like for everybody to do here.
And if you ask me, I bet you Liberace actually got the most screen time in this episode.
I think you're right. Times two. I mean, since he was on, a lot of times he was on the screen twice with those wonderful visual effects at the time.
All right. Well, that wraps up. All right. Well, that wraps up another episode. Do you have a shout out, Mike?
I do. I have been, while we've been watching these episodes, I've also been dipping into the past of the comics of Batman and rereading a lot of the earliest comic stories. And for me, like obviously you can't go back and buy a lot of those issues because they're uber expensive. And even the collections, for the most part, the high priced omnibuses, the archived collections are pretty pricey as well. But one way that I found about 10 years or so ago, DC put out a really affordable format to collect all the early adventures of Batman called the Batman Chronicles. And so I've been reading these, and these are reprinting all of the Batman stories in the exact order that they were published. So it starts with Detective Comics, and then when Batman the series, the comic series starts, it introduces those stories, and so we're watching. So we're reading these in order that if you were to buy Batman comics on the newsstand, even World's Finest, um, this is the order that you would read that you would read them in as they were coming out, and it's pretty good stuff. It is the earliest adventures are really fun. I don't. I think a lot of people hate to go back and look at these because they find that they haven't dated very well, but I find them really interesting and very telling too. There's some things that appear in this that you see later on. I'm on volume 4 now, and my goal is to read one of these. They made I think they made 11 or 12 of these chronicles, and if you can find them, I think they're still pretty cheap. They're done on pretty cheap paper, so they don't look the best. They're not on the finest. These are like readable copies. These are not ones that you would go and you put on a shelf and they get dusty or whatever, or you get slabbed. These are nice readable copies of this material, and it's printed off pretty well. If you don't, I think there's some stuff in here that's not even available digitally. I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure that some of these stories are not available, even if you have the digital DC Infinity app. Um, so I recommend if you are looking to read early adventures of Batman, picking up copies of the Batman Chronicles where you can.
That's pretty cool. All right. And for my shout out, I got two shout outs tonight. First one is to Bill, who sent us an email at batchumspodcast@gmail.com.
Thank you,
And
Bill.
sounds like he's been sounds like he's been listening to us on the ESO podcast feed.
Oh, cool.
So so that's pretty cool. And then my other shout out is to Lee, who sent us a text, and sounds like he's been watching us on YouTube. So two different ways that people can watch us, and we appreciate you guys sending us in the messages and letting us know that you're enjoying the show.
Yeah, and absolutely keeping us honest because Bill brought up a couple things that he said that we are believe he said that we were entertaining, and if I might be paraphrasing here, but sometimes unintentionally so. And you know what? I'll own that because yeah, there's a few times where either the wrong word choice or the wrong information or wrong pronunciation. Yeah, we look. However, we can entertain you, even if it's unintentional on our part. We'll still be happy that you are tuning in and listening to us or watching us.
So the most important thing for me for this podcast is for us to have fun.
Absolutely,
So
absolutely, and that hopefully
and
the
the
people
whole
who are
reason
listening and watching are having fun with us.
so the whole reason I wanted to do this podcast in the first place is because I wanted to rewatch the Batman 66 series because I haven't seen every episode. And I thought it'd be fun to talk to somebody about it. And I knew Mike was a big Batman fan, so I and I knew he was a Batman 66 fan. So I asked him if he was interested, and yeah, we've been having a blast doing this.
Yes, it
So
has been so much
and
fun.
I've never I've never done a show where I'm on camera on YouTube. So this was new for me. I'm used to not being heard but not seen.
Well, for the most part, Drew, only your top half is seen. So,
That's true. This camera I have is fairly narrow. So, but I try to show my Batmans behind me. But if you could see the whole wall, I've got all sorts of heroes behind me. So
absolutely. Well,
I got a lot more posters in my office.
you've given us a peek occasionally from some of your other stuff up there. So it's a pretty impressive wall. So, I yeah, so it's cool. Like I said, we're like you said, we're having fun. Hopefully, everybody else is having fun with us. That's all we're really trying to do here is just to have fun watching these episodes and bring them to you. And we do encourage everybody to comment. We get comments on YouTube as well, so we appreciate that. We've got some people who I seem to listen every week or watch us every week and comment on things. So they let us know what's coming. A lot of times, if we mention something, we're not sure if we're going to see that character again. They'll let us know if they're going to come again. Uh, and they'll let us know when we mess up, which is fine because Drew and we will continue to mess up.
Yes, that's for sure.
Yeah, yeah. It's not something
I've
that
been,
we intend, but it's inevitable.
yep. All right. If you'd like to comment on anything we've talked about tonight, you can reach us at our feedback line 317-455-8411. You can leave us a message, you can text us, or you can email us at batchumspodcast@gmail.com. All right, Batchum, are you ready to get out of here?
Bat chums are ready to move out.
Atomic batteries to power, turbines to speed. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Don't worry, the maestro is yet to come.